Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this riveting video where I'm going to be giving my Game Week 6 predictions for Match Week 6 of the Premier League 2024-2025. So yes, this is an interesting week, of course. I think every week in the Premier League is interesting, but it's hotting up right now. It's hotting up. We're going to start to see some distances form. We're going to start to see some more managers under pressure. I tend to think the first 8 game weeks you have to judge over a period of 8 game weeks to really see where teams are at, to really see where patterns have emerged, to see who's kind of firing, to see who's not, to see who's overperforming, to see who's underperforming. But game week 6 is always an interesting week. I think historically it's actually been quite a dramatic game week in Premier League history. And so we've got some big games this week, of course. Newcastle City is actually a very tasty 12:30 kickoff. We have United Spurs at the 4:30 slot. We've got a little South Coast derby between Bournemouth and Southampton. It could be fiery. We've got Everton needing a win. We've got Palace needing a win. We've got Chelsea, a little resurgent Chelsea against Brighton, who can always throw up a surprise. And so some really interesting games. Obviously, West Ham under pressure. They're traveling to Brentford. This is not what West Ham fans want to see after, winning the Conference League, after, becoming quite consistent in terms of their Premier League finishes. Brentford always starting the season pretty well, apparently. And so we're going to discuss the games and we're going to give our predictions in this little website to make it clear. And we're just going to have a little bit of fun with it. We're just going to have a little bit of fun with it. So let's see. So we'll start with Newcastle Man City. That is the 12:30 kickoff at St James's Park. Now, this website looks really good, but I actually haven't done any fixtures and predictions from it before. So we'll give it a go and we'll see how many we can get right. I tend to be all right with predictions. I have good senses. So we'll see. So let's go. Newcastle City. What do I think about this game? Well, Newcastle, they actually have a mixed record against Man City at St James's Park. Haven't got the exact stats up, but they haven't done too badly. They've got points with them in the past before, recently. However, City are dominant in the Newcastle rivalry. It's been a bit of a mixed start to the season for Newcastle. They are 6th in the league. It's 10 points out of 15, but it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like Newcastle are properly clicked. They haven't played the best football, to be perfectly honest. And, they beat Southampton, they beat Tottenham, and they beat Wolves away, but Fulham away, Bournemouth away, disappointing. So we'll see what Newcastle are all about in this game. We'll see whether they can attack City. And obviously, we'll see where they are after actually Game Week 7 this year. So I corrected myself. It's the international breaks normally come with the first 4, but this time it was the first 3. But obviously, Newcastle have a lot of quality. Their midfield is still full of energy, and the injuries that they suffered last season were pretty notable. There's been reports saying that Isak is not available. I think that'd be a huge loss. He's their target man. I think he's a big game player as well. So he doesn't really deal with pressure badly whatsoever. As for Manchester City, let's talk about the big guns, Manchester City. Obviously, anytime they drop points in the Premier League, it is a pretty big disaster. You don't really see them this day and age dropping points in consecutive games. I don't remember the last time that's happened. Someone will have to remind me. So I remember it happening a bit last season. They dropped points and they went on a fat fucking run. And if you're looking at their fixtures, Manchester City, then, as an FPL player myself, and as I'm sure many people who might watch this are, it's really, really, really pretty simple up until game week 12, where they face Tottenham. They face Tottenham at home. So look, their next 6, which is where I'm kind of thinking about my fantasy team, the next 6 after 11 game weeks. They've got Newcastle away this week, Fulham at home, Wolves away, Southampton home, Bournemouth away, Brighton away. Yeah, it's pretty plain sailing for Manchester City. They will obviously need to win 6 out of 6. But it is now very interesting. They are without Rodri. but they're without, arguably their best player, to be honest, and probably the most important, influential player, Rodri. There's no denying the City have an immense amount of talent everywhere on the pitch. If Savio is injured for a bit, Foden comes in. If Doku's injured, Grealish comes in. Last season, if Haaland was injured, Alvarez came in. If De Bruyne is injured, Bernardo Silva can play, of course, in the midfield. They've got Gundogan. They even got Matheus Nunes, who I really rate. But Rodri is someone who actually cannot be replaced. He's just not. No one can match him. So this is really interesting. The likes of Arsenal and City, sorry, not City, and Liverpool, and I believe Chelsea will be very excited. But as for this game, I think Newcastle will lose. You never know how 12:30s might start. But look, Newcastle have nothing to lose in this game. They've got to give it their energy. They've got to give it the full St. James's Park experience. I am going to go for Manchester City to win 2-1. But I'm hoping that it could be a good lunchtime kickoff. Now let's move to Arsenal versus Leicester. I believe that Arsenal are still hurt from that point against City, but they have to put it behind them and just move on and enjoy the league, enjoy the chances that they've got again, and then take the Rodri injury forward. They are very emotional. They are a very emotional side. But one thing was very good about Arsenal in the last season. They've been very professional. They've got the job done. So they have to kind of keep doing that. And the pressure is on this season, of course, because they might collapse as a football club if they don't win it for the third time in a row. Odegaard obviously injured, but they still got immense amount of quality. And look, their next 3 in the Premier League, they should be plain sailing. I do get an impression that some of their players are tiring out ever so slightly. The likes of Saka is playing a lot of football. I do get the impression that we haven't seen the best of Arsenal this season. They were immense against Tottenham. I will give them that. But they drew to Brighton. Wolves at home was a bit of a struggle. So we will see what Arsenal was saying. And obviously Atalanta, they drew. So, they've changed slightly. They've become a bit more controlled. Just noticing that Villa game and that Wolves game. But we'll see if this is a big win for Arsenal. And I expect it to be. Leicester will struggle, even though I do think they've got a few really good players. I'm going to go for a 3-0 victory for Arsenal here. I think I might be screwed by not having an Arsenal defender in my fantasy team. As for Leicester, again, nothing to lose in this game. It's all about their next 4, which I'm excited about as a fantasy football player who owns Jamie Vardy. They've got Bournemouth home, Southampton away, Forest at home, Ipswich away. I think obviously it's already certain that Leicester will be in a relegation scrap this season. They can pick up points. I do think there are worse teams. I do think Ipswich and Southampton are probably worse than them. But, Everton, Wolves are there or thereabouts. They all might start clicking. They've got more Premier League experience. It's going to be a tough season for Leicester, I do believe. And I think Steve Cooper's got a lot of thinking to do. I'm not sure the Leicester fans have taken to him, all too well so far, but they need to get some wins under their belt. And I'm hoping, obviously, that they can do this against Arsenal. But if not, then hopefully the likes of Didi, Fataru, I think Buonanotte, great quality. I think Decordova-Reid's got great quality. Vardy is probably finished. Edouard is decent enough. But Vardy should hopefully start for my fantasy team. Gamble on him, but we'll see. Now let's move on to Brentford-West Ham. Brentford-West Ham is a really interesting one. A lot of people are tipping Brentford to win. I'm not so sure with Brentford because they are a very inconsistent team. When they lost in Burmo last season, they were struggling. I think Rissa is a big loss for them. I really do. I think it's the link-up that he offers with Burmo. The centre-forward play is really impressive. And we haven't really seen what Kevin Schade looks like as a centre-forward. We haven't seen Carvalho too much. Hopefully he starts. I've got a punt on Carvalho in my team. I'd love Burmo, but I don't have him. And I actually think West Ham are favourites for this game. I know it's really weird. They're really out of form. I think under a Moyes West Ham, they'd be favourites. Lopetegui is just a bit weird. I don't think that James Ward-Prowse was any good. But he's a European manager, and a lot of these European managers, they want their fancy, flashy Spanish, shithouse. They don't really want their English shithouse or English kind of legend, simple player. I've noticed it, but that's the style of a lot of Spanish managers, or here or there. Some are more loyal to kind of European styles than they are to kind of English midfielders. But look, I actually think West Ham need to get things going. Of course, it's not really I just don't think it's that hard of a fixture, and I actually think Brentford have a very weak defense. So I'll be very surprised if Brentford win. I actually really will. I might be underestimating Brentford a lot, but I've just seen it so many times. You know, they've only won against Palace at home, Southampton home. These are games that you'd expect to win. I'm going to go for... I actually think Brentford will lose. I think West Ham will win. Now, do you know what? I'll go for a 2-2. I will go for a 2-2. Maybe I'll go 1-1. Because obviously, if I've got Carvalho in my team, Brentford aren't scoring. If I was West Ham, they should try to win this game, of course. They have a better squad than Brentford, and they should try to get going. Maybe. Do you know what? I will go for 2-2. Let's go. 2-2, Brentford, West Ham, 2-2. Let's move on to Chelsea versus Brighton now. Chelsea, the informed team. Maresca with a plethora of options as per usual. Fresh after their midweek victory against Barrow FC. The feel-good factor again for Chelsea is pretty good. Right now, I definitely think the Bournemouth away win that they scraped helps. Scraping wins always helps. And obviously, they were very comfortable in their last game against West Ham. So that's 3 wins out of 5 for Chelsea so far this season. And there's 2 home games on the trot that they should look to win. And we'll see what they can do. I think they have got good mentality in their team. I think they've got a lot of ambition, and they won't want to fuck up. You know, they drew their last Premier League home game against Palace. So here's a chance for Chelsea to build something at Stamford Bridge. I do think they'll win. I think they have too much for Brighton. João Pedro is injured again for Brighton. And, you know, historically, Brighton haven't had the strongest defence. Look, they got a result away to Everton, United at home, Arsenal away. They're always going to play good football, but it's classic Brighton. Look, they drew to Ipswich and Nottingham Forest. This is the most Brighton thing I've ever seen, getting big results against bigger teams and then not kind of keeping that form up. But they do love a big game. I'm hoping there's goals. I want to see some good goals. I'm going to go for Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Let's go for that one. Okay, the next one, Everton Palace, another huge game for both clubs who have yet to win so far this season. With respect to Everton, they actually have been okay in the last 2 games. The 2-0 up against Villa, you know, they drew away to Leicester, being 1-0 up. 2-0 up to Bournemouth is an unacceptable loss, of course. And Palace, they haven't even been that bad this season. They've had a lot of chances. They have got a lot of quality. And I think they're going to go to Goodison Park feeling okay. Let's be honest. I think the Anderson loss is a big loss for Crystal Palace. But the likes of Eze, Wharton, Kamada, and Mateta and Nketiah, this looks okay for Palace. It's very hard to predict this one, but I just think Everton could scrape it. I do think their struggle, Everton's quality is not bad. The maximum Everton can commit to games, we saw it against Bournemouth. We saw it. Their maximum is not strong enough. Okay, you could go 2-0 up to Villa, but what are you going to do with it? Are you going to defend solidly? Okay, you went 2-0 up to Bournemouth, but you're not keeping the lead. What is Everton's maximum? Is it good enough this season? The max has to be scoring goals, defending brilliantly, and working hard all game, and offering a lot of consistent quality. So let's see. Hopefully there's goals. I might put an Everton player in my team because it's some differentials, and McNeil is very cheap, even though I really don't rate him. Carvalho, and I don't have space for. I think we're going to go for a 2-1 Everton win. A 2-1 Everton win. It should be a tie game. It should be a tie game, but they can't be losing at home again. If they are, I just think Sean Dyche is in trouble. If they lose at home, there's an uphill battle for Everton. It really is. But, you know, they don't sign players properly. The club institutionally isn't right. Forest, on the other hand, against Fulham, teams that have had decent enough starts, Fulham are always going to be around mid-table. Currently, they're 9th. Forest at 8th. This is a very interesting game. I think we'll see some good football. I think we'll see some good goals, and I actually think Forest will win. Actually, will they win? Why not? I'm just going to back Forest because I think I rate them, and they're at home. Why not be ambitious? Nuno and Marco Silva are both very passionate managers. They want the ambition, and they are very ambitious. Fulham with a good attacking options, Forest as well. So this should be an entertaining game. I think we're going to go for a 2-1 Forest win. Let's go for that. So, look, I think evenly poised matches from a neutral perspective, the Brentford, West Ham, Everton, Palace, and Forest, Fulham, very, very evenly matched kind of teams. The Chelsea and Arsenal should be comfortable. Liverpool versus Wolves. Look, I need us to win. I expect us to win. I think we'll win 2-0. I think it should be comfortable enough. We've got a lot of momentum. I'm not having this crap that Wolves are going to start playing well against us. I'm not having it. They're a woeful team with a very, very poor defense, and I feel sorry for them. I really do, because again, it's been a disappointing transfer window, and they give it their all a lot in games, but it's just not going to be good enough. So hopefully we can continue. I don't want any more slip-ups to Liverpool. Get this game done. Wolves away, Palace away. This should be simple wins, and that's what we need. No, I'm not going to just chat shit and say, oh, Wolves away could be hard, Palace away could be hard. Every game's hard in the Premier League. Every game's a surprise. We lost to Forest at home. Man City and Tottenham conceded first to Brentford, whatever you want. So this is a game that hopefully we can control. I think we will. Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, McAllister is a midfield that's working, and it works for these types of games against the medium Premier League teams. I'm hoping that we can just deliver. So Salah and Diaz probably on the goals. I need Salah to kind of bang. He's my captain. Obviously, if I take Salah out for Diaz, we know Salah will bang, so it doesn't really matter. Ipswich versus Aston Villa. I fully expect Aston Villa to win. I think they're a serious club. They're serious ambitions, a Champions League team now. Yeah, they're winning scrappy games a lot this season. The Wolves away was behind. It was at home. Everton at home was behind. Leicester away 2-1. I sense that they're playing very well. Aston Villa, Watkins and Duran and Tielemans and Rodgers look really dangerous. I think Villa will do very well in this game. I think they're going to win by 3-1. Man United, Tottenham. This is an amazing fixture. Both clubs are under pressure. Early start of the season. Look, Man U 11th, Tottenham 10th. It's not where they want to be. It has the making for a 2-2 draw. I can't really call winners at the moment, but it has the making for a 2-2 draw. Both clearly not at their best right now. Both clearly lacking momentum and confidence. But obviously, they had Europa League matches. Tottenham with the win, Man U with the draw. United really aren't strong at home, and so we'll see. We'll see what can happen. It could be an open game. It could be an exciting game, but we don't want to see Son injured. We want to see him ready for this game. Apparently he came off with a knock, so that's kind of damaging for Spurs. But yeah, we'll hopefully see some good quality on display. And finally, the South Coast derby between Bournemouth and Southampton. I'm going to predict a Bournemouth win. I think they look pretty all right. Southampton look really woeful. We could see some surprises. I don't tend to base my predictions on what's recently happened. It's always expecting maybe some changes. Southampton very unfortunate to draw last minute to Ipswich. Bournemouth have been playing some good football this season. They always do. And they actually look really good against Chelsea. So I think they'll win 2-0, and it should be an all right weekend for them. So yeah, that is that. Those are my predictions. Newcastle City, Arsenal, Leicester, etc., etc. Is a very exciting weekend of Premier League football. I might start doing this weekly, just talking about the games, which I really like doing, and I'm very excited. Obviously, most important thing is Liverpool, then it is my fantasy team, then it is seeing whether Man City and Arsenal, who I believe are title rivals, yes, I'm putting Liverpool in there, whether they can drop points. So Liverpool, FPL, and then obviously let's hope and pray that City and Arsenal drop points. I doubt they will this weekend. If I'm going to predict a surprise, if I'm going to go against the grain, I could just say Newcastle nick a draw against City, and then I could say something like Palace getting a win against Everton, which could happen. And then I might just suggest that and might call a winner between United and Tottenham. Other than that, I think it's very fair predictions. So thanks for watching the video. Might do one about my fantasy team. Do you know what? I'll do that now. Give me a moment. Hello, guys. So we are back, and we're just going to talk about my fantasy team for this upcoming game week. So we discussed some predictions, which I thought was really fun. And now it's fantasy football time. It is fantasy football time. Let's just see what we can do. So let's discuss my team. This is what it's looking like so far. I know I need to make changes. I did a short about this, but let me see. Let's just go through it very, 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 I don't even know what I'm talking about. Very, very quickly. We don't have to do it quickly. Let's just do it properly. So it's game week 6. We've discussed our fixtures. There's a break after game week 7, which is very annoying. I hate the international breaks. But then after game week 7, we have game week 8, game week 9, game week 10, game week 11, and another break. So I've decided in my brain that I want to focus on the next 6 game weeks. I think that's a strategy that a lot of players are using. We're going to look at the fixtures in these 6 game weeks. I think some fixtures are important for some teams. Some doesn't really matter. For City, it doesn't fucking matter. Haaland scores a hat-trick against whoever. Salah, it doesn't matter. I'm seeing a lot of this stuff. Salah out, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like we thought Salah was the one for Forest at home. And who else was it at home? It was Bournemouth at home. Yeah, and he got 8 points in those games. But, hat-trick away to United, it's very hard to call. And sometimes away games are better for Liverpool. When the team is attacking, when the team is creating more space for us to exploit, then that is pretty much Salah and Diaz and Nunez's game. So whether I take Salah out or not is a tough one. I kind of want to, because I literally just could have Saka and Diaz in one or two transfers, which will not cost any points. I'm very tempted to do that, but I'm not really liking the look of my defense. Let me explain why. I don't mind having a 4 million Faz. He plays, that's absolutely fine, and I might even use him for some of these fixtures. How can you ignore those fixtures? If Leicester are going to get a clean sheet this season, it surely has to be at home in some of these games. They may not even get a clean sheet in the entire season. It is very, very uncertain as to whether they will do that. But we will hope and pray. But Bogard was a massive mistake in my wildcard team. I know Emery rotates his defense like mad, and it turns out that, of course, Luca Dean, he's a well-known fantasy fraud. He will score an assist and clean sheet in one game, and everyone will think he's amazing. Then he might get an assist the next game after, and then he might get an assist the next game after, and then he'll get subbed, and then Villa won't keep a clean sheet. And he's just like Pedro Porro, Pedro Porro is better because he actually plays, but they don't fucking keep clean sheets. It's the most annoying thing, and he gets subbed. Porro doesn't get subbed. Similar example. But why I put Dean in, the principle of putting a Villa defender is not bad, because they are a decent enough club that might keep clean sheets, and they only have 4.5 million defenders, and even their defense have been known to contribute pretty well. Konza has always contributed. Cash had some seasons where he contributed. Obviously, we know Luca Dean's history. Pau Torres and Diego Carlos are pretty good from set pieces. So I'm really regretting not putting Konza in. I also have had a look at Villa's fixtures, of course, and they are okay in the next 6. Bournemouth home is not bad. Fulham away is not bad. Ipswich away is not bad. And of course, it was Wolves at home. So whatever, I may keep Dean in. I will have to take Bogard out. And I'm not really liking Mazzuari anymore. I think he's a great pick, but I don't like United's fixtures. And, somehow they've kept more clean sheets than they should have done. Fulham at home, first game of the season, Fulham should have scored, but it takes a while for Fulham to get warmed up. The Palace away, the amount of chances Man U conceded, I cannot believe I got away with having a Mazzuari clean sheet. Southampton away, that's pretty normal. So I don't really like him. So if I'm just thinking about these transfers, I could just do 2. I could take out these guys for some more budget defenders For example, Mykolenko, Everton have some okay fixtures. You know, he has some potential attacking returns in line as well. And then I'd have to go maybe someone else. Excuse me. I'll look at the next 6. But it would be Mykolenko and someone. I know my defense isn't that strong. Ideally, I'd love to have Gabriel, maybe Gvardiol. I got to try. Or this is a very fascinating one. Look at this. Can this work? Rico Lewis and Mykolenko. I actually think it might not. I don't think it does work. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try it. I don't think it does. Oh, no, wait. It could. No, it does work. It does work. It does work. It does work. I've done. Yeah, just about. So Rico Lewis is someone I had at the beginning of the season. Well, I transferred him in. The Pep Roulette is always a killer. We all know as fantasy players, the Pep Roulette is an absolute disgrace against humanity. But I'm seeing reports saying that Lewis will come in for Kyle Walker. I think it's an ideal. Like if and also Rodri's injured, that gives Lewis opportunities to come in. But look at these fixtures. You want Rico Lewis just there or thereabouts. He's much more dynamic than Kyle Walker is. Kyle Walker's a boring player now. I don't think he's not needed for City. He should be a James Milner for Man City now. You know, he doesn't offer that much on the right. He's just solid defensively, keeps possession, keeps the game out, and very physical, which is pretty good. But you know, if City are playing all these games, they're just going to batter the teams. They're just going to dominate completely. And Rico Lewis getting into pockets of spaces, even when the likes of Southampton and probably Fulham will operate a low block 100%. At Bournemouth might do it, and even Wolves might do it at home. So I kind of want Rico Lewis. I could go for those changes. They don't really make that much sense this week. Robertson, Dean, and maybe Maswari. I'm not sure, but those are something I'm thinking about. Apart from that, I am very tempted to just maybe go for McNeil. Look, I really fancy Everton. It's about time they win a game. So I fancy some Everton players. Let's just go back. This is what it's looking like. The big one, obviously, is no Arsenal as of now. I could get away with it with having Salah and Palmer. I could get away with it. It's not something I like to do. I see it a lot, and they say they could get away with it. I'm out of my mind not to have Arsenal players for the next 3. I have to do it somehow. So, but I just put Solanke in this week. I could get Havertz in, but Havertz might be playing in the midfield. I'm not entirely sure. You know, I don't know how Arsenal are going to line up without Odegaard. Who knows who's going to play on the left? Is it Martinelli? Is it Trossard? Will Jesus start? You know, Havertz is a minutes merchant, of course, but and also Saka could get subbed. Havertz will be on the penalty. Maybe Havertz will take the penalty. You never know. Solanke, though, I kind of like him, but on paper, these are not the best fixtures. United away, Brighton away. And Palace away in the next 4, and Spurs. Excuse the yawning. I didn't get much sleep last night. And Spurs, they haven't built enough rhythm. But Solanke looked good in the Europa League, scoring and assisting. Not that it makes much difference. I'm all right with Vardy. And look, I fucked up my wild card in game week 4. I did a video on my channel talking about wildcard drafts, and I fell asleep beyond the deadline because my team name is Indecisive SC, which means I leave it to the last minute. And of course, if you fall asleep, you fuck up your team. So in my opinion, I should have about 20 more points. That would take me to 3-5-6. So I would have had Mazraoui and Vardy on the wildcard, in game which they did deliver. I would have had Dean on the wildcard because in game week 4, he delivered a nice little 4 points against Everton. So that was that. But look, I don't think this team looks that bad. The only ones are Mazraoui and Solanke. If Solanke scores, Mazraoui clean sheet goes out. He's not that attacking. Dean may or may not start. But look, Smith Rowe's on form. Rodgers has been playing really well the whole season. And Carvalho, this gives me a bit of a Burmo coverage. Everyone has a Burmo. I had a Burmo. Took him out on the wild card because City away, Tottenham away. I had him in, actually, against City. And he had chances. This is a man that gets chances. He's on penalties. He's actually a world-class footballer, I would say. But Carvalho, if he starts, like, that's incredible value. He's still a dynamic footballer, Carvalho. He's not as prolific as Mbermo, no chance. But this is a chance for Carvalho to really be attractive to players and the managers in the Premier League. And look, that was a promising 86 minutes against Tottenham. I don't know who else they have up front. If he doesn't start, he doesn't start. Maybe Vardy could come on my bench, although Carvalho will probably come on. So I will need to think about this. This is the team as of now. The transfers, as I said, might take Lewis and might bring in Lewis and Mikalenko for Bogard and Mazraoui. However, I could just do a very simple Saka for Salah and Diaz for one of my cheap midfielders. That cheap midfielder might actually have to be Smith Rowe. I got some points on him, but is he hauling? With his minutes, they're not amazing. He's always getting subbed. And Fulham have some tough fixtures. City away is, of course, City away, and Forest away. I fully expect Smith Rowe to score, get an assist in this game. He is Fulham's best attacker, I would have to say. But Fulham are not going to score 2 or 3 goals away from home. And Villa at home, we'll see. We'll see. So, look, Smith Rowe will fully start every game. But I kind of I know there's some cheap players here, Smith Rowe, Rodgers, and they are cheap. Rodgers, I really like. This guy is really, really strong. And it's about time he gets a goal. Ipswich away is a perfect game for Rodgers. It screams of a walk-in brace, but if Rodgers gets an assist or goal, that's good enough for a 5 million midfielder. Solanke, Haaland is Haaland. I'm going to captain Salah. Palmer is one that is taking up a lot of value in my team. And Chelsea are very different this season. They're not so reliant on Palmer. They have so much quality elsewhere. Thank God he scored against West Ham. But his minutes, I thought, what the hell Maresca was playing at, taking him off at 63 minutes against West Ham. So Palmer will have to be one I'm looking at. I will keep him in for Brighton at home and Forest at home. Then Liverpool away, Newcastle home, United away, Arsenal home. I still fully expect Palmer to do something in those games, but I think I can squeeze some more points from some other midfielders. Maybe even a mighty Phil Foden or De Bruyne might come into my team because those City fixtures are absolutely beautiful. So this is my team at the minute. Let's just see what a little bit of Bukayo Saka and Luis Diaz, because I can't ignore Arsenal. I just cannot ignore. Ideally, I wouldn't go for Saka. I'd go for Martinelli or Trossard to get the differential, but you kind of got to stay in the game in the next 6 game weeks. You just got to be up there, and then after game week 11 or game week 12, you start to differentiate. So I don't want to fall behind. I'm okay as an okay rank right now, so I don't want to fall behind. I just want to keep up there, and hopefully my differentials can do well. Solanke is a bit of a differential right now. Havertz would also be a differential, kind of, maybe. And also, obviously, the captain choice is very, very important. Look, if City want to be shit against Newcastle, I'm fully on board with that. I'm fully on board with Newcastle, with Haaland flopping against Newcastle, if Salah wants to bang against Wolves. If I keep him. So we just don't know. Will Jesus start? He hasn't started yet this season. What do the predicted lineups have to say about it? I'm going to check Arsenal versus Leicester predicted lineups. I assure everyone this will finish this. If you're interested in carrying on watching that, that's really cool. Arsenal team is Martinelli, Rice, Partey, Saka, Havertz, Trossard. Oh, they think, okay, so they think it's going to be that. Havertz in midfield, Martinelli, Trossard as the forward. How interesting. Leandro Trossard, Saka. If you want to stay wide, my friend, and just plug balls into Leandro Trossard, that could be very juicy. But like, if I'm taking Salah out for Diaz, I have to put Saka in. There's no choice. Otherwise, I'm just fucking over my team with my penalty takers. Salah's on pens, Saka's on pens. But let us have a look. Maybe I could do Leandro Trossard. But his fucking minutes are wank, let's be honest. Even Martinelli is better minutes than Trossard. It's hard because Saka and Havertz are the only reliable ones. Let's just see what it looks like. Trossard in and Smith Rowe out for a bit of Luis Diaz. then I've got 5 million in the bank. I've got 5 million in the bank. I've got 5 million in the fucking bank. 4.1. Sorry, lad. 4.1 in the bank. I could do something else. Diaz. I'm literally taking Salah out. Diaz, Trossard, Havertz. Should I do that? Diaz, Trossard, Havertz. But what if Sterling starts? Martinelli. What if it goes Martinelli, Jesus, Saka, Havertz? I can't afford to have Trossard benched. Do I take Solanke out? Do I take Solanke out for Havertz? Do I take Solanke out for Havertz? It's a tough choice. Well, I keep that in and upgrade some defenders. Mazraoui, 3 transfers for a -4. And that defender would have to probably be Gabriel, but I wanted Mikalenko and Rico Lewis. So it's a tough one still. What about Calafiori, Timber? What does this prediction site say? Calafiori, it looks like he's preferred to Jurrien Timber. Jurrien Timber. It looks like Calafiori is preferred to Jurrien Timber. And yes, there's lots of websites are saying different things. Lots of news outlets are saying different things on the lineups. Jorginho Rice Party is one that's been touted. So the Trossard one is up in the air. The Trossard thing is very much up in the air. It's very much up in the air. I cannot afford Calafiori. Diaz, I've somehow fucked. He's one of my favorite Liverpool players, and I'm really sad I didn't double up on Liverpool at the beginning of the season. Really, really embarrassing. He might be overperforming his XG, but who gives a shit? He's incredible, and he's now 8 million, which is mad. And I had him loads last season, and I knew he would deliver, and he delivered in preseason. So it's my fault. It's probably my strategy not doubling up. I got to think about that. But yeah, look, I kind of just want my team to do well. It's not a bad team, but if I don't make changes, it's not a bad team. I'll have 3 transfers for the next week. But let's just have a look at what Saka looks like in the team. That's fine. And then I could make a change at the back. I would have to think about that, to be honest. But obviously, City and their fixtures, Lewis, minutes risk. He's a fucking minutes risk, mate. Akanji, not enough goal threat. Not enough goal threat. Not enough goal threat. Not enough goal threat. Also, Savio is a shout. I'm seeing a few people talk about that. But there's so many players that look really, really attractive and compelling for the next few game weeks. So look, let's just say I keep Mazraoui and I've got 1 million to spare. Diaz and Saka for Smith Rowe and Salah is a very, very tempting move. Obviously, Diaz has cancelled out Salah this season. So so we'll see whether that keeps up. Obviously, the left side of Liverpool is really strong. Salah, as a fancy asset, okay. But Diaz is younger. Diaz has got more energy. Diaz has got more of a point to prove. And Salah does get a lot of assists, through balls, creativity. But obviously, Salah is a lethal player because he can play shit the whole game and still get a scrappy goal. It's what he's done throughout his entire Liverpool career. And one moment of a little bit of space, one moment of magic, despite missing 10, 100,000 billion chances, he'll still score. So yeah, that's that. Wolves away, Palace away. These are fixtures. So just let's hypothetically say, what defender would I put in for Mazraoui? And I would go. I think I would. Do you know what? Maybe I should go for Bogart out. I would take a gamble on Lewis, but I don't want to play him against Newcastle away. My defense is Dean and Robertson, and then someone. Let's just have a look at which defenders being occupied by fancy players. Saliba, heavy occupation. Alexander-Arnold, Pedro Porro. Well, Pedro Porro not for the clean sheets, of course. Robinson, who's someone I took him out because Fulham really don't know how to keep clean sheets. And yeah, it is what it is. That was really upsetting. I had him for that game. He fucked it in the last minute, sadly. Are we seeing a turnaround from West Ham? Are we going to see any turnaround from their defense? Probably not. Probably not. Ipswich home is fairly exciting if you have Bowen and Kudos. Forest, maybe I could take. I don't want to overcomplicate it. I do think Wood will score again. Had him at the beginning of the season. Look at those fixtures. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Emmanuel Dennis, underrated. I don't know what he's doing at the Forest. He should be somewhere else. He should be going to... Who should Emmanuel Dennis play for? Because he was really sick at Watford. I think he should play for Everton. He should play alongside Calvert-Lewin. He should definitely play alongside Calvert-Lewin, mate. Calvert-Lewin, mate. I've seen a lot of Ipswich, Greaves, and the rotation with lots of green fixtures, but West Ham away is not a green fixture. Brentford away is not a green fixture. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what this green fixture bollocks is all about. So let's ignore that. Look, if I was to go for someone, I would go for Pedro Porro, but he's not going to do anything. These are awful fixtures. Brighton away, there's never been a good fixture in the history of football. Why would I do that? I give up. I give up on this game. It's too much thinking. It's too much thinking. Right, that's the reset button. Guys, thank you very much for watching the video. For one final look at the team so far, this is what we're going for, and we'll see whether I make any changes. We'll see whether I make any changes. Got to think it through. Might take some inspiration from some content creators. We will see. This is my team, my independence. But it's very important to look at your competition, because genuinely you want to see how you're doing. You want to see what your other players, your investors are doing. You have to stay on board with them, because they do tend to finish in the top ranks. A lot of their teams are very similar, and you want to stay on par with the kind of sample that the creators give you of the top million or so, top 500k, top 10k, whatever you want. Anyway, thanks for watching the FPL, but also thanks for watching the predictions. Hopefully I get something right. And yeah, if you like my shit, I have lots of plans coming up. Trust me. Lots of cool plans. Watch my table tennis videos as well. All right, thank you very much for watching the video. Peace and love. Up the fucking dads. We're going to win the fucking league. We're going to win the fucking quad. And this lot's going to fucking win everything, mate, because we're the best fucking team in the land, lad. All right, mates. Ta, lads. Bye now.